What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Storm Sessions. We are here with one of the stars of the University of Miami women's basketball team, Cam Williams. Cam, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for joining us. It's a little more familiar weather for you, right? A
For
little
sure.
cooler.
Feeling great. Feeling great outside. I love it.
So I was talking to your dad quite a bit, preparing for the show. Aaron Williams, 14-year NBA vet. What was that like, just growing up in a household that basketball is such a huge thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge for me. I feel like it helped me kind of develop my love for the game from such a young age. Like me and my brother and my sister, we would grow up playing basketball with my dad, and he never like forced it upon us or anything. It just kind of came naturally to us. And obviously, just having him in my corner, we play the same position. So it's like I couldn't ask for anyone better to, be in my corner and like feed into me, give me advice and tips. So I love it. I'm super grateful I've had him in my life. So
He was talking about you when you were younger. You said you used to play with dolls, and you might be mad at him for saying that. But do you remember like kind of realizing like, okay, my dad does something that may be different than the other dads?
yeah, I would say, like kind of like I touched on, he was never somebody who was forcing us to do anything he wanted us to do or anything we didn't want to do. He was really big on us figuring out what it is that we loved. We played multiple different sports. I ran track for a little bit and I played volleyball. And he was supportive of us no matter what. He just wanted us to find something we loved and to work hard at it and be successful in our life. But so whatever it was that we loved, he was just the supportive dad that was going to be there for us. And I think that's kind of like what separates him from other people. I know a lot of times you see like parents like, oh, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna play this sport, and it kind of molds and like restricts, these kids. And I feel like I've been super grateful to have a dad like him to just be supportive in my endeavors growing up.
Yeah, a lot of times the ones that didn't have the career that are the loudest, right? Kind of
Yeah,
living through the
yeah,
kid a little bit.
yeah,
But watching you play, there's a little bit of obviously you're a young lady, but there's a lot of old school in you there in the post.
yeah.
Was that something that was kind of from the beginning? That's how you learned the game, or did that come later?
Honestly, I feel like it was kind of what I knew initially. And I think a lot of times, honestly, I restricted myself probably in some ways because I would say, like, I'm a pretty traditional back to the basket post player. But I feel like it's kind of what just felt most natural to me. And it's weird because it's like also kind of exactly how my dad was too. So and like subconsciously, it's like we're the same player and like a different kind of way. But I don't know. I feel like it just kind of came natural to me in that way. And but I do think like I probably should have put more of an emphasis on expanding it from a younger age. And my dad was always telling me that, like, don't put yourself in a box, don't put yourself in a box. Granted, I did probably at a younger age, but I don't know. It worked out well for me. I'm here now,
I'd say so, yeah.
and so still got so much more ahead of me.
In your relationship with the game, just, as a young girl, was it something you just like, hey, this is fun. I like doing it. I'm good at it. I play with my friends. Or were you always kind of like, this is going to be something that I do seriously for a long time?
I think at first it was just something that I was good at. Like I realized I loved the game. I remember when I was deciding, okay, which sport do I want to play? Like I was running track, playing volleyball, and my sister had also been playing volleyball and basketball too. And I realized I was like, you know what? Like I really like the culture of basketball. So I kind of fell in love with the culture of it, like just the game in general. So at first it was just, I love the game and I'm good at it. And then I think what really was the turning point for me was when I got my first offer and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I maybe I can do something with this." And that's when I really started to take it like a lot more seriously. And it kind of drove me, okay, well, I want to get more offers and see, where I can take this. And I think that was the point for me where I was like, okay, like let me work on my craft, let me like try and get better. Just so like I can, have an opportunity to play basketball at one of the highest levels.
You're someone that could have been going, you would have been going to college anyways, right? I mean, from what I understand, straight A's, just kind of always been
Mhm.
very much a student athlete. Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself at a young age to excel kind of in everything? Or I mean, was it the same thing? Oh, I like school. I'm good at it. It's no problem.
I would say that I was someone who put a lot of pressure on myself, and going back, I wish I didn't put that much pressure on myself, but, my parents really, like, emphasized, how important academics were for us alongside with, like, basketball or whatever sport you were playing. So I think just having that kind of value rooted in our family, like the importance of both academics and sports. So that was initially the reasoning behind wanting to excel so much. But I think also personally, I feel like I just have this drive that where I want to be great at whatever I like it is, whatever aspect of life, like whether that's in the classroom, on the court, like I just want to be the best at whatever I'm doing. So I think it's kind of like that competitive kind of mindset too, but I think it's helped me like in academics be so successful because I just want to be, successful. I want to get good grades. I want to set myself up for like a successful life after basketball, So just kind of stuff like that. I was always thinking in the long term and about my future at a young age, which I feel like is kind of rare sometimes. I feel like most people don't really know what they wanna do. Most people don't really think that far ahead, but I feel like at a young age, I was kind of trying to, like, set myself up for success in the future.
Talking to a lot of female athletes specifically, sometimes, obviously they're to get to this level, you're going to be good at a young age. You're going to stand out a little bit. And, when you're young, you kind of want to fit in, right? Too.
Mhm.
So being, taller and better than a lot of girls, is that something you struggle with? Like, hey, I want to be one of the girls, but at the same time, like you said, I want to excel and I can excel because I do have these
Mhm.
talents.
I think at first it was kind of an adjustment, but I think it came a point where I just kind of embraced it. I remember, I was playing for, like, my middle school team, and the talent wasn't super great. It wasn't a very competitive league at all, and I remember, like, having to just stop playing with the team, and so I would only play AAU, like, I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like, only playing, like, with AAU because the competition was way better than what I was playing in my middle school basketball league, and that's when I was like, "Okay, like, I can't be playing around, like, with, like, this middle school league," like, it was kinda like, "Okay, I need to, like, play against competition," and, like, so I think that was kind of where I started to embrace, like, I'm not the same as these other girls on my team, like, I can't just like, I have to put more effort into my game, pretty much.
Now you're so nice and obviously like you don't come across as a bully, but you are a physical player, right? I know sometimes part of your challenge is making sure you don't play too physical, right, with the fouls.
Yeah.
Your dad said that he's giving you that feedback, and you told him, "Hey, you're one to talk." He got a lot of fouls back in his day. Was that always in your game, the physical edge to it?
Yeah, I would say it is. I think that's one of the greatest things I love about the game, the physicality. I feel like I need that, like, I crave that going into every game, but like you said, like, you gotta be smart with it because the fouls, um and it's funny because my dad had the same problem, but, he's always in my ear before, like, every game, like, "No fouls." I'm like, "Yes, like, I got it, yeah." But no, I do love the physicality of the game, and I feel like it has been, like, ingrained in my game from very early on, and I think that's, like it's also, like, a difference maker too for my game.
You're from the city, obviously Chicago, so you're used to the big city. What was that like growing up there?
Oh, I loved it. Like, I tell everybody all the time, like, I love being from Chicago. Like, I wanna move back there, but it's honestly, like, a part of my identity, like, Chicago is, like, a big basketball city, and I went to one of, like, the best, basketball schools in Chicago, Whitney Young, and, I feel like it's helped me become who I am today just because of how competitive and gritty the basketball is in Chicago, and the competition was really good too, but, I mean, even aside from basketball, just, like, being from the city, like, I just love it. I feel like there's so much culture in it, like, it really, yeah, helped me become who I am today, so I love it.
So, student, athlete, I was not much of either in high school, so I had a lot of time to have fun. But you, who's excelling at both and still trying to be, a high school student, make friends, meet people. What did you do for fun outside of,
Mhm.
sports and school?
Yeah. Well, I was very much so a homebody, so my days were like, I love going to the movies, I love to shop, I love going out to eat and trying new restaurants, so on our off days or After practices, I think that was kind of what I was doing, and I love hanging out with, like, my family and my friends, so it wasn't anything crazy. I mean, I'm a pretty laid back person, I would say, but I would say movies for sure because I really love popcorn, and I will go to any movie if there's popcorn there, so
You have a favorite movie?
mm, favorite movie? I don't, honestly. Honestly, like, I think a lot of movies are really good. I feel like one that's pretty good is, like, Avatar. I feel like that one has always been, like, a pretty good movie, but it's a really long movie, but it's really good.
And you kind of got hit in terms of your career. COVID happened right when things were really popping off for you. I mean, it was a critical time in your life, and boom, the whole world shuts down. What was that like for you in your process?
It was crazy, honestly. It didn't feel real at first, and it affected all of us in many different ways, obviously from a health perspective. Fortunately, I didn't end up getting it at that point in time, but I think it, like, shifted our mindsets in a lot of ways. It didn't really feel real at first, but, like, outside of basketball, like, things like graduation were being pushed back. I didn't have, like, an in-person graduation. I didn't have a prom, which everyone has. So it's, like, milestone events that, like, you usually have were taken away from you, and I don't it kind of helped us have a greater appreciation for things like that, because anything can be taken away from you in an instant. Um and from a basketball perspective, thankfully, I believe we did finish our season, so it didn't really affect us in that way. But I think it did shut it. I mean, it shut the world down for so long, and I think it helped for me personally. Like it made me find other ways to occupy my time. Like you play basketball, you go to school every single day, and all of a sudden it's just over, and it's like, what do you do with your time now? So when the gym was open, we were still trying to go to the gym and get shots up and stuff. I remember like for a period of time, like the gyms were open for like a few weeks, and then it shut down, and we really could just do nothing. So we were literally just in the house, you know, just having family time. But I think again, like it changed my perspective and like made me have a greater appreciation for a lot of things.
And you're a five-star recruit at this time, right? Ordinarily, you'd be getting kind of wined and dined and
Yeah.
flown around the country. What was your process like, and how did it lead you ultimately to the University of Michigan?
hmm so Michigan recruited me early on, like my freshman year of high school, and I think it helped me. I actually got injured my junior year of high school. So it was already kind of a weird time. And then COVID hit. And thankfully, like none of like all of my offers, like still stood on the line despite getting injured. But I think they were still like super interested in me and really wanted me. And they made that clear. And growing up, myself and my family were just huge Michigan fans. So it almost felt like the natural decision to go there. I loved the coaches, I loved the family atmosphere. So it just kind of felt like the natural decision, to lead up to my success on the court and off the court. But yeah, I mean, I think again, like through COVID, it helped me have a greater appreciation, but it also helped me try and like figure out what are the next steps, like what can I be doing to help me prepare to go to college? Because when we got there, it was still COVID. We weren't able to interact with anybody. We were in like bubbles and like hotels, so we couldn't really interact with each other how we wanted to. So it was definitely a weird senior year going into my freshman year of college. It was very different, but I feel like it did help me grow in so many different ways.
Your injury was your junior year,
Yes.
and what was that like? Just from dealing with that adversity after having so much success before
Yeah.
that.
It was really hard. It was a mental challenge for sure. I had tore my meniscus, and it actually didn't end up getting better, so I had to have multiple surgeries on it. But it was very mentally challenging because you go every day playing, the sport that you love, um, and then you get injured, and you're, hoping that colleges are still interested in you, and that you'll still be able to produce at a high level. So I think for me, it like it changed my mindset. Like, okay, how can I be a leader on my team without physically being out there? How can I help my teammates? How can I still like fine tune my own game and the mental aspect of the game without actually physically being there? So it helped me a lot in that way. And it helped me become very resilient. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's helped me, and everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. And yeah.
So you go to Michigan, have great career, but you still have eligibility, right? So you have great grades. You can go to the business world and do a lot of things there.
Mhm.
Maybe pursue basketball. I don't know, overseas at that time. I don't know what the plan was. What made you decide to take another year and come to the University of Miami?
Yeah, I think having this one COVID year is has been amazing. I think any other student athlete could attest to that as well. You know, you don't just get a free year handed to you. Um, but I would say, for me, it was more of I have 1 year to one, get my master's degree for free, which is important. Academics is super important for me. And two, I get to go somewhere and learn from different people, play a different style of play, and expand my game and like, my individual self in a different way that I never thought I could. And I went back and forth a lot between, okay, do I stay, or do I stay at Michigan, or do I leave? And for me, I mean, I loved my 4 years at Michigan. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think for me, it was more so like, how can I use this 1 year to really challenge myself? And I'm someone who is not super comfortable with change. So I wanted to challenge myself in that way, and I wanted to make myself uncomfortable. So I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to play for a different coach, different coaching style, and use this 1 year to experience something different in life that I probably wouldn't have experienced if I had stayed. But yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with my decision to come here. Coach Kalep has been amazing and a huge reason why I chose to come here. And yeah, I'm super grateful that I chose to come here.
So what attracted you all? I mean, obviously the coaching staff and
Hmm.
wanting to change, but
Hmm.
the university itself and the city itself, what attracted you? 'Cause I'm sure you had other opportunities, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
This one, what was it about this one?
So, I mean, there's obviously many different factors that play into it, but basketball wise, obviously, Coach Club, the coaching staff, I really like was I really liked their philosophy and what she wanted to do and accomplish here. And I played against her at Michigan when she was at Toledo, and I knew what kind of coach she was. She knows how to make her teams run through a wall for her. She knows how to win, and so that's kind of something I wanted to be a part of. And role, I wanted to continue to be able to play a big role at a university and help a team be successful and make a deep run. And then outside of basketball, I feel like, I mean, you're in Miami. It's like, super it's a really nice environment to be in, not just because of the weather, which is super nice, but like I feel like there's a lot of connections down here, and that was important for me. I feel like your master's year, getting your master's degree, it's all about networking and making connections. So I wanted to make sure that coming from a university that had so many connections, and such a huge network, I wanted to continue that. I wanted to go somewhere where I could also continue to build my network and network with people. Like I want to, after basketball is over, I want to pursue a career in sports marketing or brand management. And I feel like Miami is a really great city to be in for that, especially for sports. And I think that as I've been here, I've been trying to network and speak with as many people as possible. So aside from basketball, I think that like just being in this hub of so many prominent, influential people who have so much, presence in the city and in the sports industry, I think it's been super huge for me because, I potentially want to work in these places, and there's no better place to be than like in the hub.
Your dad said he thought you might be a politician, and now having met you, I can kind of see it a little bit. Is that in the cards, maybe, or no?
Oh god, politician. That's funny. He did say that to me once.
I could see it now that I'm here. I could see it.
I think that I think my mom also brought that up. I think it's just because I'm passionate about a lot of things, like a lot of important things in life. And if I feel like a certain, group of people, and myself included, are affected by it, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to to really, influence that change. But I don't think I'll be a politician. I think that I'm gonna stick to the sports world. I think I don't know, maybe I could mix the 2 together in some way, but I don't know. I'm good for the politician for now,
Tall, smart, good public speaker. I mean, checking a lot of boxes
though.
here. So a lot of, at least I've seen a lot of people who have successful parents,
Mhm.
sometimes they take their foot off the gas a little bit and they're just kind of enjoying life. But, talking to people around you, it's always, she cares so much. And just like you just said, you care a lot, not just about things that affect you, but others, and also your craft, right? What drives you, despite, it's not like you're born, your parents are successful. There's certain challenges that you didn't have to face, but you
Mhm.
still had that just passion and drive to excel. What do you think that comes from?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think that I just have this driving factor in me that I just want to be great at whatever it is I do. I think that, like, your parents can be successful for sure, and you could maybe benefit off that growing up, but that only takes you so far. Like, I wanna make a name for myself. I wanna make a name for Cameron Williams, not my father or my parents. Granted, I appreciate everything they've done to get me to this point in my life, and I wanna continue to make them proud, and I think that's kind of maybe also my mindset behind it. They're like, I don't want there to be, a let not a letdown, but I don't wanna just there be a drop off, like, just because your parents were successful, "Oh, I can just sit back and profit off of that." Like, no, like, you should go make a name for yourself, and I'm a big believer in that, like, everyone has something different to bring to the table, and I want to continue to, showcase what I can bring to the table in different aspects of life, whether that's basketball, whether that's off the court. I think that I have something unique to bring to the table, and I just want to continue to challenge myself in that way every single day.
Looking at just look at the box score, your stats. You've been a productive player, but the jump this year, it's not hard to see. What do you think contributed to that? Whether it's just, basketball skill wise, or maybe bigger than that, just in terms of your personal growth, what contributed to that huge jump?
I would honestly say maybe the mental part of the game. I think a lot of it is, for a lot of years people are trying to figure out what their role is on a team, and I think the mental part of the game is such a huge bulk of the game, and I think a lot of people don't really realize that. But I think this year has been a good year for me to really see my game in a different light that I may have not seen it in before. And I would say that's the biggest because I feel like I'm very consistent in what I do behind the scenes, like with my workouts, with watching film. I'm very consistent with that. And even when you may not see like the production on the court, I try not to let that waver me. So I would just say, um, the mental part of the game has just become, so much greater and stronger for me that I'm able to produce at a higher level.
You as a person through this journey, going through again injury, the COVID, 5-star, all that accolades, then sports. There's always ups and downs. How have you changed the most? You'd say in the last 5 years.
Hmm. I would say in the last 5 years, I have become such a stronger person than I thought I would be. I feel like I've gone through a lot of change that I didn't think that I would go through. And I feel like it's pushed me to become not only a stronger person, but kind of like I touched on earlier, a resilient person. A lot of people, like as a freshman, come into college thinking they're going to start and you don't. And then it feels like it's the end of the world. Oh, I want to do this. I want to transfer. I want to leave. Like you hear that all the time. But for me, I feel like it made me mature at a younger age and view a lot of different scenarios from a different perspective. And for me, I took it like as a challenge. I didn't come into college starting right away. I played behind an All-American, and I think that's kinda where you have to shift your mindset, like, you get to learn from this All-American, you get to see what she's doing so great and why she's producing at such a high level, and, like, I think it takes a lot of maturity for someone to look in the mirror and be like, okay, why am I not playing? And I feel like that's when I was like, okay, let me do everything in my power. And I think that kind of, to your point, fueled my desire to be great at everything in life, because I just feel like I said, everyone has something different to bring to the table, and that kind of fueled my fire. And I think it would fuel anyone's, like if you come in and you're not playing, but and I think that it paid off for me in the end, and I was able to learn and build such great relationships with people. So I think it made me shift my perspective on, like, if you're not seeing one thing, like, everything happens for a reason, and you will bear the fruits of your labor.
We're seeing that now and happy to see it. Got a lot of questions here from some familiar faces. So, someone named Danielle Williams, who you might know, asking, did you get any inspiration from your big sister?
Did I get any? Yes, I did. She is a sister who I would say is trying to be a role model for me and my younger brother. And she is a huge supporter, honestly. She tries to support us in any way she can. And I mean, she's always thought she was better than me at basketball, but she's not. So we still have that beef going back and forth, but I guess she's inspired me in that way. But she's been a good big sister though. And I think she's set the standard for us, me and my younger brother. She played volleyball at Northwestern. So also another great institution. But yeah, I do look up to her, even though she may not see it sometimes. She has really set the standard for this family, and I love her. So yeah.
You guys had the hoop at home growing up?
Well, no, because we were in the city, so we would
Ah,
just have to go to the court.
okay, but you guys played together a
Oh
lot?
yeah,
What was that like?
it it got super competitive. Like honestly, a lot of times our after we would go work out, like as a family, it would end in a lot of arguments, and we would just have to stop it because we would have to go home because of how bad it got. But yeah, it was competitive.
Made you what you are today. Question from Canes fan, Josh Krulik. Do you have any pregame traditions?
I would say it's pretty standard. Let's see, before every game, I usually just, we have shoot around, and then I'll just take a shower, and then I'll usually get treatment for a good amount of time. And honestly, it changes from away games and home games. Like on away games, I'll usually take like a pregame nap. Um, and then sometimes I'll just take like a little energy drink, get me going a little bit. But yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah, just sometimes the nap and then get ready. Sometimes we'll do like a TikTok every now and then before a game, me and my roommate. But yeah, nothing crazy, honestly.
Music wise, do you like hype music? Some people like calm music. It's everybody's different.
I'll I'll do hype music. I can't do like I like after the game I'll like bring it down to like some R&B and stuff, but before the game I need to like get me going a little bit.
What's the go-to?
Oh man, Gunna is my number one. Yeah, I would say Gunna for sure.
From Chicago, so you're musically inclined just by being from there, from what I understand. So, Daytune asking, what's the earliest childhood memory you had that made you want to play basketball?
Hmm. Hmm. I think probably um playing with my sister. I think that I really me and my sister played what in high school together. So I think that was obviously aside from seeing my dad. We don't remember like its entirety of him playing, but we were introduced to the sport at a very young age. And I think so when we play together in the gym, like I said, it gets super competitive. I think that because like so my brother thinks he was better than me, and my sister thinks he's better than me. So I'm like, you know what? No, you guys are not better than me. So like it's like the competitive, like the fire kind of like, okay. Like back to what I said, like I could really be good at this. Like let me, put some time into my craft and like be good at this. So I think playing with my siblings at a young age kind of fueled that. And then also I think being able to play with my sister in high school was super cool. And I it was already such a family atmosphere, but I think being able to play with my sister was a super cool thing, and I really enjoyed that too.
Why 44 from the cooler Melb?
Well, interesting story. I was actually number 34. That's been my number since high school. And when I went to Michigan, it was taken, so I had to choose another number. And I chose 44 because that was actually my dad's other number. So he was 34 and 44. And at first, I was a little hesitant because I was like, okay, this is kind of a big number. But I was like, you know what? There's meaning behind it. And it was close to 34. So yeah, it was my dad's number. And I feel like it was a good way to honor him in that way too.
Villario Collection wants to know your favorite thing to do in Miami.
Hmm. I would definitely say trying all the foods. I did like the culture down here is so great, and I feel like you can literally get whatever kind of food you want. Like I think that's since I've been down here, me and my roommate talk about it all the time. Like we just try and go try different restaurants all the time because there's just so much to offer down here.
What are some that you hit up?
So Joya Beach is definitely one of my favorites because it's just like the food's really good and like the atmosphere, like you're on the beach, it's like you could see the sunset and like I'm not used to that like being from Chicago, like you don't have the palm trees and the nice weather on the beach, like it was really nice. So I would definitely say Joya Beach. I just actually tried Carbone, which is a Miami staple, for the first time, and it was actually really good. So I would definitely say those two are up there.
Good choice. Expensive taste.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Another person you might know here, AJ Williams, number 34.
Oh,
What inspires you to be great?
oh, good question, AJ. Um, I would say I would say the success that our family has had. I want to, I want to meet that success and like go beyond that as well. Like I want to leave my legacy better, leave this family's legacy better than how it was found. So yeah, I mean, kind of like I feel like we've kind of answered this question in a different way, but I just th- I just feel like there's so much potential, and I don't know. I feel like it's when you see that you could be great at something. I feel like that just fuels my fire and my desire to want to work every single day. But, having like our dad, like that's been super inspiring. And my mom too, actually. I mean, she's not an athlete, but she's been successful in so many other ways. And I think that's kind of where I get my drive from because she is someone who will do whatever it takes to be successful. She's run multiple different like companies and businesses, and she's someone who's going to do what makes her happy, which I think is great. Like she can be so successful but also being happy at the same time, and I feel like it's hard to kind of intertwine the two when you get older. But I would say a lot of my drive and passion also comes from her because of how I've seen her growing up handle herself and her businesses. So yeah.
Of course, he wants to know his role in your success. I guess he was a post-up partner, right? Were you posting him up?
Yeah, I was. So actually those workouts would get physical because he thinks that it's just he gets we get so competitive. Like my dad, like he's a guard, but he's so he tries to kind of overdo it in the post, like gave me a good nudge, and I'm like, just can we play basketball? Like this is not basketball. So then we start arguing, and then it just becomes this whole big scenario, just that it doesn't need to be. But yeah, I mean, I guess he can have that. He's helped me in the post. Um, he's my little partner.
Little
Uh,
partner.
yeah. Um, but no, it was competitive, but I think we help each other. I think being able to play against each other is has been super great for us growing up.
Awesome. Ruth the 11, last question, wants to know what's your favorite brand for clothes?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, I would say it depends. it's hard for tall girls to find some good length clothes. But I would say like aside from like pants, which is pretty hard to find, I would say like Pretty Little Thing, Zara, Nordstrom. Those are like some good staples. But if we're talking like athletic stuff, I really started to like Aloe. So I would say Aloe is a good one. Lululemon is a good one too.
Expensive taste.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Well, you
Yeah.
deserve it. And if you run for office eventually, you have my vote. Appreciate everybody joining us on Storm Sessions. Please follow us on the official Canes All Access YouTube channel, also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all major platforms for podcasts. Go ahead and subscribe. Cam, appreciate you
Yes, thank you for having me.
joining us.